Human beings understand the world first with their eyes before they process it with their minds. Long before people listen to what you say, they are already forming conclusions based on what they see. This is not shallow behavior, it is biological and psychological. The human brain is designed to process visual information faster than words, logic, or explanations. Sight creates instant judgment, and judgment shapes belief. When people encounter you, they do not wait for your full story. They read your posture, your composure, your environment, your movement, and your consistency. From these visual signals, they decide whether you are confident or uncertain, rising or stagnant, organized or scattered, stable or fragile. These conclusions happen within seconds, often without conscious awareness. And once formed, they strongly influence whether people open their hearts to you or quietly close themselves off. This is why many people with deep wisdom remain ignored, while others with less substance gain attention. Visibility often outweighs depth in the early stages of influence. People believe what they can see working. They trust progress that looks real. They commit to momentum that feels tangible. When your life visually communicates growth, discipline, and direction, people assume there is substance behind it, even before you speak. People associate visual order with internal order. When your actions look structured, your life appears intentional. When your patterns look consistent, your future feels predictable. And predictability creates safety. Safety invites trust. This is why people feel more comfortable following those whose lives appear organized, progressing, and controlled.
Now, at this point, you're going to hear something that will change your life. So let us know where you're watching this message from. Drop your country's flag in the comments below and let my community members know where you're watching from. Thank you. Let's dive in.
Visual stability calms the human mind. Visual chaos alarms it. People are also deeply influenced by movement. Motion signals life. Progress signals potential. Even small visible steps forward convince people that something is happening. When people see you showing up consistently, improving gradually, and refining your work publicly, they interpret it as growth. Growth attracts attention. Attention leads to interest. Interest becomes alignment. This is why stagnation repels people, even when intentions are pure. When nothing changes visibly, people assume nothing is happening internally. Silence without evidence looks like decline. Effort without visible outcome looks like confusion. People do not follow what feels static, because static feels dead. Human beings instinctively move toward what appears alive. Visual proof carries authority. It removes the need for persuasion. You do not need to convince people of your seriousness when your actions demonstrate it. You do not need to explain your vision when your consistency reveals it. People believe with their eyes first, and then they use logic to justify what they already believe. This does not mean substance is unimportant. Substance sustains influence, but visibility initiates it. People rarely wait long enough to discover depth if nothing first captures their attention visually. Influence begins at the surface and deepens with time. When the surface communicates order, momentum, and direction, people stay long enough to discover meaning. The uncomfortable truth is that perception often becomes reality. How people see you shapes how they treat you. How they treat you influences your opportunities, and those opportunities determine how far your influence can go. Understanding this does not make you fake, it makes you aware. If you want people to follow you, you must understand how your life appears before you explain what it contains. Because in a visual world, what people see first often determines whether they will listen at all.
What people see becomes the lens through which they interpret everything else about you. Once an image is formed, the mind resists changing it. This is why first impressions carry such power and why many people struggle to outgrow the version of themselves others have already accepted. The human brain loves shortcuts, and visual cues provide the fastest shortcut to meaning. People would rather trust what looks clear than investigate what requires effort to understand. When your life lacks visible structure, people unconsciously assume your thinking lacks structure as well. When your actions appear inconsistent, people assume your vision is unstable. When your movement feels slow or invisible, people assume stagnation. These assumptions are rarely fair, but they are deeply human. People judge readiness through what is observable, not what is hidden. This is why effort that is invisible often goes unrewarded. You may be growing internally, learning quietly, praying deeply, or preparing diligently, but if nothing changes outwardly, people will not interpret that as progress. The world is not trained to reward internal growth. It responds to visible transformation. This is one of the reasons many disciplined people feel overlooked, while louder, more visible individuals advance faster. People also equate repetition with seriousness. When they see you showing up regularly, refining your message, improving your execution, and staying present over time, they begin to trust your commitment. Consistency becomes a visual language that communicates reliability. It tells people that you are not experimenting with your purpose, but committed to it. The eye reads consistency as credibility. People are especially drawn to clarity in movement. When your actions appear intentional rather than random, people sense direction. Direction makes people comfortable. It assures them that you are not wandering, but building. Even if your pace is slow, visible direction keeps people engaged. A slow journey with direction feels safer than fast motion without focus. Another powerful visual signal is composure. How you carry yourself under pressure becomes evidence of leadership. Calmness communicates control. Control communicates strength. Strength invites followership. When people see you panic, overreact, or lose emotional balance publicly, they begin to question your capacity to lead them through difficulty. Visual emotional stability builds trust faster than words ever could. This is why people respond to presence more than explanation. Presence is what your body, actions, and consistency communicate before your mouth opens. People decide how much weight your words carry based on what your life has already shown them. If your presence feels grounded, your words feel credible. If your presence feels scattered, your words feel uncertain. The reality is this: people rarely give you time to prove yourself beyond what they see. Attention is limited, patience is scarce, and choices are constant. The visual signals you project either earn you time or cost you opportunity. Awareness of this truth allows you to position yourself wisely, not falsely. People are visual animals because sight gives them confidence in their decisions. They trust what appears stable, moving, and intentional. And once that trust is formed, they are far more willing to listen, learn, and follow.
What people see repeatedly becomes their truth, even when it is incomplete. The human mind builds belief through patterns, not exceptions. One strong moment does not convince people. Consistent, visible behavior does. This is why people who appear disciplined over time gain more trust than those who show brilliance occasionally. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity creates comfort. Comfort then becomes loyalty. People do not follow intention, they follow evidence. And evidence to the human brain is primarily visual. When people watch how you manage your time, how you present your work, how you handle pressure, and how you move through challenges, they are gathering proof. Each visible action becomes a data point in their internal evaluation of whether you are worth following. This is why many people are judged not by their best moments, but by their most common ones. Your everyday behavior becomes your brand. If your everyday life communicates seriousness, growth, and direction, people assume those qualities define you. But if your everyday life looks scattered, inconsistent, or stagnant, people assume that is who you truly are, regardless of your words or intentions. People are especially influenced by visible courage. Courage is not what you claim internally. It is what people see you do publicly in the face of risk. When you take action despite fear, when you show up despite uncertainty, when you move forward despite limited support, people interpret that as leadership. Visible courage creates respect. Respect opens the door to influence.
Jim, create your plan.